Hello, I'm Jill Hartz, one of the three curators of the special exhibition Migrating Bodies, Forsaking, and Saking is in parentheses, Forsaking Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness. Who knew that such a topic could be ever more relevant? This exhibition was originally scheduled for April in conjunction with the Ashland Independent Film Festival, as the two institutions have developed a creative partnership for the past few years, taking a festival theme for future exploration in the visual arts. It will be on view through October 10. Migrating Bodies explores global migration, and my co-curators, Richard Herskowitz, Artistic Director of the Ashland Independent Film Festival, and Scott Malbaurn, Director of the Schneider Museum of Art, and I selected 5 artists or collectives whose provocative, beautiful, tragic, and even humorous works address the complexities of exodus from countries around the world and immigration to those that might offer a better life or even a hope of survival. Today, there are more people on the move than ever before. And the reason for that includes climate change, something we're all well aware of here, as well as war, religious and cultural persecution, and economic hardship. You can read more about the causes and complications of migration in the essay I wrote to accompany the exhibition. But for now, let's take a tour of the show itself. I'm going to start with Chicano artist Guillermo Gomez Peña. Then Richard will share his thoughts on the work of Mahou Motasaking and Superflex, and Scott will close out our tour with Tanaz Farsi and Jebra or Apollo and Andy Rappaport. Guillermo Gomez Peña was born in Mexico City in 1955 and came to the U.S. in 1978 to study at the California Institute of the Arts, where he received both a BA and an MA. He is a MacArthur Fellow, an artist, political activist, writer, and educator who works in a range of media: performance art, experimental radio, video, photography, and installation art. He has written 15 books and is conversant in 3 languages: English, Spanish, and Spanglish. Most of his interdisciplinary and collaborative projects address the U.S.-Mexican border and what it means to be Chicano, a Mexican in California. The piece we are looking at is called Doc Undoc, or in its full name, Documentado, Undocumented, Ars Shamanica Performatica. It was published in 2017 as a collaboration with Felicia Rice, Gustavo Vasquez, and Zachary Watkins, and it invites us to consider what it means to be documented or undocumented. It's been called a, quote, multimedia border-crossing hybrid. The book is performance art, unquote. What we're looking at are various parts of the piece, which involves printmaking, typography, performance, video, sound art, and installation. The beautiful aluminum travel case has been opened, and we see something like a makeup case for a performer with its mirrored vanity and sections. The wrestler's mask has been taken out and stood on its own, but you should imagine putting it on and looking at yourself in the mirror. There are other humorous objects in the case, and you can put on gloves and press the buttons to hear different voices, including one that encourages you to reimagine yourself, tell a new story, collaborate with others. You become part of the shamanistic performance. But you can also watch a ritual performance on the opposite wall, where Gomez Peña performs some potentially dangerous actions. And then there's the artist's book with its complex, multi-layered images. What do you think is on it? There's even more to this project, including essays that situate it in its multimedia and multi-identity environment. So take some time to immerse yourself in this unreal reality.
This is Richard Herskowitz, the Artistic Director of the Ashland Independent Film Festival and co-curator of this media art exhibition. Migrating Bodies was originally intended to run simultaneously with our 2020 festival in April, which had a strand of films on the subject of migrations. In spite of COVID, both the film festival and this companion exhibition did manage to see the light of day. The first piece I'm going to talk about is Mahou Motasaking's Passage. Mahou is a media artist working in photography, video, and live performance. He often appears in his works and is the guy you see in Passage wearing a trilby hat. Passage is a 3-channel video piece that was the chosen artwork representing South Africa in the 57th Venice Biennale, which is where Jill Hartz and I saw and were blown away by the work. There, the piece was installed in a small, dark room where you were surrounded by the 3 separate videos projected onto the 3 walls to the left, front, and the right of you. That installation scheme had the virtue of being completely immersive. However, Mohow also approved screening the 3 videos side by side like we're doing at the Schneider Museum, and here you have the advantage of being able to see all the screens at once, which is impossible when screens are on both your left and right. In each of the artwork's 3 projections, we're confronted with a character, a different passenger, lying in a boat not much wider than their bodies. There's a woman with a hawk perched on her arm, a young man in a trilby hat, and a woman wrapped in a Basotho blanket. Each travels with a single possession. The arched shape of the boat frames each passenger with their heads pointed towards the prow. As the passengers look up at the sky, they perform a series of actions that move between gestures of struggle and resignation. A pool of water slowly forms beneath their bodies. The rising water gradually floods the well of the boat, eventually leaving the passengers submerged, while the boat slowly sinks and eventually disappears. So what's the meaning of the title passage? In Setswana, the experience of life is referred to as a passage. The Setswana word for life, bocello, means to cross over, and people are bafeti, voyagers, a recognition that the experience of life is transient, it has a beginning and an end, as with any voyage. The ebb and flow of water, as both life-giving and deadly, symbolizes the many who have arrived or departed from South Africa in trade, as cargo or as transient bodies belonging to no particular state. Today, with so many refugees from third world countries floating on the seas, displaced by environmental and political horrors, exacerbated by years of economic exploitation by wealthy countries, Motosakeng's images resonate deeply with the present and the past. Superflex is an artist collective that was founded in 1993 in Denmark. Superflex creates mixed media and site-specific social practice works, especially focused on the effects of globalization and systems of power. They challenge the role of the artist in contemporary society and describe their artworks as tools, thereby suggesting multiple areas of application and use. In the Superflex film Kwasa Kwasa, which we're screening, the image of a boat floating with refugees appears again, as it does in the works of Motosakeng and Orapalo we are presenting. Kwasa Kwasa is a one-screen film installation. It was made in 2015, a poetic documentary meant to be experienced in a gallery instead of a movie theater. The boat here takes on new resonance as we watch a shipbuilder construct a poured resin boat on an island between Madagascar and Mozambique. The boat is a labor-intensive work of craftsmanship, and we watch its construction and then its application. Originally, boats like this were used for fishing, but now they're being repurposed to transport migrants searching for a better life to the neighboring island of Mayotte. More than 10,000 men, women, and children have already died trying to cross the roughly 70 kilometers to their destination, a French outpost. Fittingly, the title Kwasa Kwasa means an unstable boat in the language of the Comoro Islands.
Hello everyone, this is Scott Malbaurn, Director of the Schneider Museum of Art. I'm going to take you through some of the work in the exhibition, starting with Tanaz Farsi, who, in her practice, is invested in alternative methods of remembering and recording to prolong the presence of easily erased moments that arise from the complexities of colonialist legacies. Central to the work is the notion of fragmentation, structural blindness, and individual agency. She works with materials and forms that are easily recognizable, using our familiarity to tease out a common language that is at once analytical and physical, and allows for a complexity of meaning to develop through arrangement, organization, and form. The work is project-based, and her studio practice crosses a range of mediums such as sculpture, photography, drawing, printmaking, and digital media. As an artist, she is interested in the friction that is instigated within the mixing of these conventions. Whether it is an aesthetic structure that informs a political commentary or an attempt to bring an irrational idea, or an idea that does not have definitive form into a physical structure. For this exhibition, Farsi researched, drew from historic cultural objects, feminist histories, and theories of displacement around the conception of memory, history, identity, and geography. The works in the exhibition position the circulation of information and objects through a cultural lens. Farsi writes, "I am thinking about the impact of migration and the ways cultures of the places we come from can become incorporated into the new worlds we inhabit as a counter to the process of assimilation that speaks to the erasure and amnesia." 3 related works are featured in the exhibition. The Names is an ongoing project that gathers the names of Iranian women who have contributed to the intellectual public output, tracing the history of Iranian feminism from the 1800s to the present. History, which features images of her grandfather's Quran, offers a kind of a virtual migration that helps to affirm and create a sense of history in the quote-unquote new world. A third project, Wayfinding, presents photographs of Iranian rugs, leaning and stacked, as well as a body wrapped in one, that speak to the use of traditional objects for aesthetic purposes. Accompanied with a list of executive orders for U.S. sanctions on Iran, the images also offer deliberately unclear narratives, perhaps involving loss, passage, or possibility. American Greetings, an artwork that touches on a common theme in the artist's work, is made of aluminum with an embossed text that reads its own title, but in a vertical fashion. We can just barely make out our own reflection. Its vertical position makes us think of a doorway or a passage into a new world. Born in Iran, Tinaz Farsi is an associate professor of art in the College of Design and Art at the University of Oregon. Artists Deborah Oropalo and Andy Rappaport created a new piece titled Flight in 2019, a 9-channel video installation, which is courtesy of the Artists and Catherine Clark Gallery in San Francisco, California. Deborah Oropalo received an MA and MFA from the University of California at Berkeley and a BFA from Alfred University. Originally trained as a painter, Oropalo incorporates mixed media techniques, including photomontage, video, computer editing, printmaking, and painting into her practice. Whether still or moving images, the resulting works bear traces of the distortions that evolve or remain from the image manipulation. Andy Rappaport has had a nearly 50-year-long involvement with music and sound, and his experience ranges from fronting rock and roll bands, to performing as a singer-songwriter, to designing and building recording studios and equipment. Rappaport's collaboration with Oropalo on the video work for a piece titled Dark Landscapes for a White House marked his first foray into music for moving images since scoring student films in the 1970s, and draws on his experiences at that time with some of the earliest commercially available music synthesizers. The artistic partnership between Oropalo and Rappaport is ongoing, and their collaborative work includes more than 8 video projects. Flight, the latest 9-channel video by Oropalo and Rappaport, refers to mass migration and global displacement, the geopolitical crisis of our time. At this moment, humans are losing their homes in a worldwide crisis brought about climate change, persecution, regional conflict, food shortage, drought, flood, and fire. In the split-screen video, a continuous stream of boats crosses a vast and dark ocean. As they reach the shore, the faces of occupants draw closer to the viewers. We witness courage, desperation, fear, loss, and hope. We see the means of transport and escape reflecting the customs and traditions of their former homes. Wooden boats, inflatables, the provisional, hand-built rafts made of anything that floats. Please try to imagine a perilous journey in flimsy, overcrowded boats across unknown and unforgiving waters, carrying only what is in your pockets. Now try to imagine whether you will be taken in where you are to land or sent back out to sea. Some people are given life vests, others nothing. I would like to thank my co-curators, Jill Hartz and Richard Herskowitz, for the diligent work on this project, and Jill Hartz for her wonderful essay on the exhibition, in which much of what I shared with you comes from her writing. I would also like to thank Emily McPeck for her edits that you see here. At the outset, this recording was intended to be launched while the Migrating Bodies exhibition was on view. The Almeida fire that tore through parts of our own town here in Ashland, Oregon, and major dense areas of Talent and Phoenix, Oregon, created quite a delay, and our own museum preparator lost his home and everything. What an uncanny and ubiquitous coincidence we all here had to experience. Our hearts go out to all people who have endured these tragedies.